This is how the entire end dimension in Minecraft actually looks. It sounds strange because this isn't what you normally see when you play the game, but this isn't a normal image with a 30 chunk render distance. This image shows the end dimension at a distance of over 5 million blocks. For example, this small dot in the center is where you fight the Ender Dragon, and the small gap is the distance to the end islands where you find the end cities. Someone posted this image on Reddit not long ago, and literally everyone was fascinated. Someone commented on the post, and they said they actually went to the first ring. It was about 370,000 blocks away, and it took up 8 gigabytes of storage just from loading all the chunks, which shows just how massive the end dimension actually is. My plan is to load up a Minecraft world, go to the end dimension, and attempt to go to some of the end rings. Also, I was inspired to make this video by these two YouTubers. They recently made a video on the same topic. Without their videos, I wouldn't have seen the original Reddit post. So now that I'm here in the center of the end dimension, I just have to choose a direction and start flying forward to see if these rings actually exist. But instead of flying for 370,000 blocks all the way to the first gap, I'll just enter the coordinates to the first gap instead. So this is the first gap, which is apparently this part of the image. This is the end of the main land, which spans over 300,000 blocks, and the gap itself is about 100,000 blocks wide. So far, I would say that this image has proved to be true. Before going forward to more rings, I want to do the same experiment that this YouTuber did.
But before I continued going forward, I had a little experiment I wanted to conduct. Actually, what if I continue next to this line and see it actually curve, like an actual donut shape? I think that's a very interesting thing we could do, so let's do it. I wanted to start turning. I want to see this live. I want to prove this theory. Is it actually a circle? And it actually does seem to just... Oh, look! Oh my god, it's doing the circle! It's cutting off here, look! It's starting to turn! Look at the mini-map, it's starting to turn! Oh my god, there's like chunks starting to turn this way. It's starting to make a circle, slowly but surely.
I want to see for myself in real time if it actually curves into the shape of a ring. The chunks actually start to cut off. Instead of the terrain continuing straight, it actually starts to turn. I kept traveling along the edge to find more examples of the terrain turning, and it actually happened quite often. Slowly but surely, as the land keeps turning, it will start to take the shape of a ring. Instead of going to the next ring, I want to go to the last ring, which is about 30 million blocks away from the center. The last ring is so far away, it isn't even in the image from the Reddit post. If you didn't know, in the newest versions of Minecraft, when you go to the last ring, there's now a world border that you cannot cross. So if you want to go to the rings that are past the 30 million block limit, you can install a mod that removes the border. If you want to know why the end dimension has these rings, here's an explanation from AntVenom.
So, seriously, what's going on here? Well, if you're a Java coder and you want to see the code that causes this breakdown, here it is. Long story short, this whole bit of code is trying to process numbers that are much larger than what Minecraft is actually capable of for its world terrain noise, which causes part of the terrain noise to generate numbers that ultimately get read as nan, which is short for not a number, and that causes the terrain generation to fail outright. To me, however, that's not even the most fascinating part. To me, the most fascinating bit about all of this is that the area of every single donut is exactly the same. Seriously, want me to prove it? Okay, to get the area of the inner circle, we square the radius, 370,727, and then multiply it by pi. And then we take that number and we double it. And then we run the equation backwards. We take the new number, divide it by pi, and then square root it. And just like that, 524,287.15, which when rounded to the next highest block, puts us at 524,288. If that's too complicated for you, then here's a visual sine wave of how all of this works. Every time the wave crosses the x-axis line, the world shifts from land to void, or void to land. If you want to see this graph for yourself, check out the link in the description down below and follow the instructions. What blows my mind is, if we take any two numbers that cross the x-axis on this graph and punch them in as our z and x coordinates, we are guaranteed to wind up on the edge of some part of one of the donuts. Seriously, try this out for yourself. It's honestly a lot of fun to mess with.
So now that we've investigated the end rings, we know that this image is 100% real.